Please be seated. Good morning, everyone. Respected dignitaries on the dais, Honorable Chairperson, esteemed speaker, respected principal, faculty members, and all my enthusiastic participants. On behalf of Maharshi Karvesri Shikshan Sanstha, Shri Siddhivinayak Mahila Mahavidyalaya and the Department of Computer Science, I, Priyanka Kanekar, feel privileged to welcome you all for our take into session 3 of two-day national workshop on artificial intelligence and machine learning. Today's session specially focuses on theme emerging trends in artificial intelligence and machine learning and its impact on higher education, which of course is a very dear subject to all of us. I'm sure this session will provide us with valuable insights and how these emerging technologies are influencing the future of education. It is my great privilege to first introduce the chairperson of this session, Dr. Varsha Bapat. Dr. Varsha Bapat is a distinguished academician with over 25 years of teaching and research experience in the field of electronics. Over the course of her career, she has trained more than 12,000 students in diverse domains such as digital electronics, analog electronics, microprocessors, embedded systems, wireless communication, digital signal processing, Internet of Things, and artificial intelligence. She completed her PhD in electronic science from Savitribai Phule Pune University, where her research focused on the development of technology-assisted crop security systems using sensors, signal processing, actuators, and wireless communication technologies. Her innovative work also involves simulation modeling and field testing of electronic systems, and it received appreciation from experts as well as agricultural authorities. Currently, she is serving as a faculty in electronics at Modern College of Arts, Science and Commerce, Pune. In addition to teaching, she has played several important academic and administrative roles, including BOS member at Savitribai Phule Pune University, contributing to syllabus design for undergraduate and postgraduate programs. MAM has also been actively involved in innovation and research initiatives, mentoring students for prestigious national competitions such as the Smart India Hackathon, where teams under her mentorship achieved national level recognition. She has contributed to faculty development, research activities, industry academia interaction programs, and startup and innovation initiatives within academic institutions. Her dedication to education, research, and student development makes her a highly respected mentor and academic leader. Ma'am, we are truly honored to have you as a chairperson for this session. She's serving as a principal at Modern College of Arts, Science and Commerce. Now, to express our heartfelt gratitude and respect, I would now request our coordinator of this workshop and head of the Department of Computer Science to kindly felicitate our esteemed chairperson, Dr. Varsha Bapat. Thank you very much, ma'am, for gracing this session with your presence. Now, it gives me immense pleasure to introduce our esteemed speaker for this session, Professor Pradeep Kumar. Sir is currently serving as professor and head of the Department of Computer Science and Information Technology at Maulana Azad National Urdu University, Hyderabad, which is a prestigious central university of India. He has a rich academic career spanning more than 2 decades, during which he has contributed significantly to teaching, research, and academic leadership in the field of computer science. His areas of research interest include software engineering and machine learning, with a strong focus on applying intelligent techniques to solve complex computing problems. Before joining Maulana Azad National Urdu University, Professor Kumar held several important academic positions, including associate professor and head of the departments in various engineering institutions. and he has also served as program chair for postgraduate programs in computer science and software engineering. Through these roles, he has played a crucial part in shaping academic programs and guiding young researchers. Sir has made remarkable contributions to research with numerous publications in reputed national and international journals and conferences, particularly in the area of software reliability, machine learning techniques, and intelligent computing systems. His research work includes studies on software reliability prediction models, machine learning applications, and soft computing approaches for complex software systems. He has also guided many research scholars and postgraduate students, contributing to the development of future researchers and professionals in the field of computer science. With this vast academic experience and deep expertise in the emerging technologies, we are confident that today's session will be highly insightful and enriching for all of us. Sir, it is indeed a great honor to have you with us today, and we warmly welcome you to this workshop. To extend this warm welcome to our esteemed speaker, I would now request our chairperson, Dr. Varsha Bappad, to kindly facilitate Professor Pradeep Kumar. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Now, without any further delay, I would like to invite Professor Pradeep Kumar to deliver his talk on the topic Emerging Trends in Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning and its Impact on Higher Education. Sir, the stage is all yours.
So, very good morning to all the respected dignitaries taken place of match of the board match. Varshaman, Kritik Mohikan, who is the convener of this today's workshop. Varshaman is the coordinator and other technical members of this today's event. It's a truly delighted moment for me. It's a pleasure, prestige, and proud moment also. Well introduced me very well, says very few words. One thing was missing, the reason I stand before you here. 30 years back, I was also a student of Pune University, and that makes the difference. I'm here, and luckily, this honorable book, looking back. So I'm looking back my 30 years history at Pune and around Pune. So thank you so very much for this honor. And I will start my presentation because it has been on the AI, ML, and the emerging areas. So I have tried to put this PPT into the two parts. Initially, some motivational and the impact of the AI, particularly in context of Indian universities, national, state, and varieties, and the other systems. And then moving from back to the AI machine learning algorithms, right? So I would like to cover at least a couple of algorithms in detail during my presentation. So as I said, I'm an alumni, so treat me like your senior. Not necessarily a senior citizen, but just like a senior, and you try to interact for a couple of queries or a couple of questions like that, right? So just a part this. So I start from this. Recently, last month, 16 to 19, there's a Government of India conducted an AI summit, AI impact on the AI Impact Summit 2026. And you might be aware that more than 100 countries participated, including the R&D wings, institutions, academics, and the others. Of course, not to be forget, Cambodia's event also came into the very high rank. That was an unfortunate part. We are not able to this. So that is the kind of impact the government of India through Ministry of Education and then through the UGC, AICT, and the Indian universities, IITs, NITs, and all these academic institutions across the country taking the lead on AI. So that's the kind of impact. How many are there faculty who are pursuing PhD? Just for my sake, so that I will be a little bit more. Okay, that's good. So I expect few questions from at least PhD scholars, so those who are planning to pursue their PhD in AI and data. Right? So these are some of So starting from the emerging technologies. So let us be open, and 1.5 hours we are going to interact with you. Be comfortable, please. And how many of you have been using ChatGPT? Let's not so everyone. So lot of focus would be on the ChatGPT. So the emerging technology we start from the generative AIs and the LLMs. ChatGPT is one of the leading innovative tools for this large language model. Apart from this LLM globally developed by the OpenAI, right? Are you aware any local LLM? Tomorrow can we develop an LLM like ChatGPT in Marathi? So someone come with a proposal or like this. It start from here. IIIT Hyderabad in association with Sweksha, it is one of the NGOs, and with some other IT industries, they have developed this ChatGPT in Telugu. So for that, it is just to motivate you and to interact with that. Can we do like that in Marathi also? Today Marathi, tomorrow Malayalam, then Tamil, and then India is vast, has a good heredity in terms of languages. Hundreds of languages are there. So can we do for this? So LLM they have created, Telugu. So you see how many data they might have collected. 1.5 million users they have recorded their voice and covering the area of education, agriculture, and the healthcare. So this is just in terms of Telugu. Can you see the Marathi is there, Hindi is there, Sanskrit is there, Telugu is there, Malayali, a lot of them. So this is one open area you can start developing this kind of ChatGPT, right? Okay, this is another area. Now coming to the predictive analytics, that is my topic I am going to talk in detail. So predictive analytics is nothing it used or applied the statistical and machine learning techniques in order to predict the future outcomes based on the given inputs or based on the historical data or based on the observation or the past data. That I am going to talk in details. Then the agentic AI and the automation system. You talk about any manufacturing industry, they are the agents of the virtual personal assistant or the chatbots. They have been developed to assist the customers or to assist the any kind of providing the services. So that also could be done. This is also one. Automation, hyper personalization. This is totally applicable, particularly in the classroom, right? We as a teacher and those who are pursuing or trying to get it. The problem with the teachers, I'm also a teacher, but let me answer. When we teach in the class, a general assumption of a teacher is that every student has a common or the same sort of IQ level. But is it so?
No, it's not.
It is not at all. The government of India has been giving a lot of focus to the intellectually disabled people, which we call the Divyang people, right? So don't you think that they also have some sort of IQ level? So nowadays they are not mentally disabled. This word has been banned by the Supreme Court itself. So they are intellectually disabled, meaning that they also have some sort of intellectuality in order to learn. So coming back to the class, if there is a 60 students sitting in the class, everyone has a special IQ level. Everyone is the special ID. So normal or the special. So the teaching learning, focus and material and the education plan should be generated as per the local need and the globally standardization. Local need is to the individual candidate. So the personalization is one of the solutions through AI we can achieve. Because if you talk about a teacher, there are 50 students and there is a 1 hour duration lecture. So how teacher is going to address all these 50? That's not going to be possible. But through AI we can. Computer vision talks about this automation, talk about the drones, unfortunate war is going on, and who is the winner? Not the people, it is the technology. And latest fortunate or unfortunate what's happening in the Middle East, you see that how IoT embedded with the artificial intelligence is taking a crucial impact on this. Reinforcement learning, robotics and gaming. Listen, robotics from the healthcare to the restaurant. I'm sure in Pune, there might be the restaurants where the robots are being the third food servicing the customers, so and the surgeries and all. So major areas of this healthcare, then the finance, agriculture, R&D, and manufacturing. And there are associative technologies like IoT is there, blockchain technology is there, deep learning is there, right? With the many more. Let's come to the next slide. IoT, deep learning, blockchain technologies, data science, cyber security, and the big data analytics. Right? So big data, it is just in terms of the size of doesn't have any other characteristics also. In terms of the volumes, in terms of the values, in terms of the dimensions, this is going to be categorized as the big data. So few more slides, please continue. Just give 5 minutes to this topic, right? And let us discuss in detail. And then coming back to the original problem, and say if you want to develop a LLM in Marathi, because I'm in Maharashtra and Pune and you are familiar with Marathi. So let us start here. Okay, if you want to develop a LLM in Marathi, so what would you like to do? So ChatGPT, it has the 4 components. So first one is the chat. Right? So take the reference, the context, the actual developed by OpenAI, which we are using, and put in mind that you're the Marathi you are going to develop. Right? So what you can do with the chat, what kind of chat you can have with the ChatGPT? Any text, any image, any audio, any video, any other thing you can give as a chat. So this is the flexibility with the ChatGPT. Vishal ma'am was asking sir अपना one page का एक profile दे दीजिएगा. So I was little bit confused about to focus about myself. So what did I said ma'am, there is a website, the university website, there is a department, there is a head of the department column, the faculty profile. So my attached resume is available there, right? So just go to the ChatGPT, upload this resume, that is 7 pages or 8 pages, let's say the hundreds of pages, and just ask me to prepare one page profile, and it would give you the perfect combination. So, and then I tried to what was missing, and I was surprised more than my expectation. It beautifully, give all the highlights of this. So, what is wrong with that? If a teacher or a student, today you assign some assignment to a student, and he's a brilliant, intelligent guy. Let me accept he is not a guy like we used to be in our teenager or even in our graduation days. They are more intelligent because they have the technology, they have the facilities, they have the exposure, they have everything. So let us accept they are more than intelligent to us. So that is at least I expect and I accept also. So what is wrong with that? If a student you assign any problem and come in with a ChatGPT solution. So is there any problem? And if no problem, then please understand we as a teacher are going to not survive so easily. It is a toughest challenge. Ultimately, it cannot replace a teacher because there is the emotion and the IQ level and the sentiments. Sentiment is a particular word and emotions which are completely missing. Even though we conduct any sort of emotion detection and emotion prediction. So it can have any kind of chat through audio, video, box, images and all. Then the generating. What it generates, Do you think it retrieves or it extracts from the backend, from database? No, it regenerates based on the inputs you have been given, or you are giving to this one, or based on your profile, and as I said, past behavior, past data, past performance, right? Past observation. It analyzes like, dislike, and all these kind of activities. Then it regenerates. So it is not necessary if you give the same question again and again and again, it will give the same no. It will come with it. And if you go with the advanced version of the ChatGPT, is you want to say no? Okay. So that's the meaning of the regeneration. So generating a new text. Then the pre-trained. So I have put it into a different color. I'm going to focus during this machine learning. This would be the discussion in terms of algorithm. So how we are going to do it. So why we are using a term pre-trained? Because this model, if I use a word model, ChatGPT is a model. So it has been trained using the machine learning techniques. So machine learning has a capability based on the given input of the past performance or the observation. It can predict to the dynamic or to the unknown inputs. This is the definition of the machine learning. Right? So it has been pre-trained. So as I said, Telugu LLM, 1.5 million users have recorded their voice, but that is still not generalized. It has been launched beta version and other releases. It is just still under the development. So if we talk just based on your this imagination and observation, ChatGPT के लिए हमने कितना टेक्स्ट यूज किया होगा ट्रेनिंग के लिए? If we have, because this is already into the market, the advanced version, paid version, free version all are available in the market. So it is a billions text has been given in a different format, combination and permutation, and based on that, it is generating, it is regenerating the output. And the best part not only this one, whatever the output it is generating, that is being stored at the backend and taken as the input. So it is learning from in the dynamic way also. So if you want to, those who have been using consistently and regularly this ChatGPT, you have created your login. And if you see over the last 1 month or 1 year, description of the activities you have done. So ChatGPT will give you the single one page or tabular form or a visualization or whatever way you want. So that is keeping track of that information also. So that's how we are going to generate it. So we will discuss a couple of algorithms in the machine learning. Then the transformer. What is this transformer? How this language or this input is converting? It is not converting, it is basically transforming. So that is the meaning of the transformer. It is not like convergence from one state to the another one. It is a transformation. For example, if I say 2 and 2 make 4, right? So in this case, what is the input? 2 and 2 make 4. Yeah, 2 plus 2 equal to 4. So in this scenario, what is the input? 2 and 2. Is that okay? What is the outcome? 4. Let's say if the result is coming 2 plus 2 equal to 3.99. So is there any error?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
How much it is?
0.01.
0.01. Right? Okay. If the result is coming 4.001, still is there any error?
Yes.
How much?
0.0.
0.0. Right? So can we say it is in one way it is the positive error and in one way it is the negative error? Right? Okay. And if I take the average value of this positive error and negative error, what would be the result? 0. So statistically, can I prove that my model is correct? And that is your statistical technique you are going to apply. So what I did basically, so input was 2 plus 2. There is a standard outcome. I'm just matching कर रहे उसको, transform कर रहे हैं. So when 2 and 2 is given as an input, 4 should be the ideal output. If there is any deviation from this 4, that would be treated as an error. So that would be called, in terms of artificial neural network, as a loss function or the error function. So what is that function? It is the deviation from the standard outcome. Is that okay? So through these artificial neural networks, we are transforming. So what is there in this artificial neural network? Now take a very funny and light example. You are cutting vegetable in the kitchen, right? And you know you. And the match is going on, the T20 World Cup was going on. Then the music also going on, you can the headphone also. Music chal raha hai, TV chal raha hai, and you are cutting, right? And somehow by mistake, you cut your finger. Cut or cut down. What will happen? You will cry. So sound will come from where? From the mouth. Tears will flow from where? Eyes, right? What action you will take? The mind will be applied. That do you have any bandage or the some betadine or some, let's say, any other condition available in this one? Or if it is blood is flowing continuously and there is a severe pain, so you will apply. I need to rush to the hospital. And one more input is coming from your mom or father, what the hell you are doing? Can't you do a simple code? So the mind is doing all these calculations quickly, so quickly. So analog to coming to this artificial neural network. You understand how many neurons are there in a newly born baby? And in a 5 year. This class should not be taken as a typical class. It should be an interaction. Then only you will enjoy. Right? I came all the way from Hyderabad to just to for my own satisfaction and to honor me and the convener and this. These are the 2 raised to the power 24 neurons in a newly born baby. So almost billions of neurons, and that doesn't increase or decrease from the childhood to the last day of life, right? So this is a huge number of neurons. Then how they are interacting? Body is a complex structure, and believe me, one of the most complex structure is the body. बहुत मुश्किल है. COVID we have applied a number of statistical diagnostic AI, ML, everything. Still there was the false positive. You go to the cancer, you go to any other disease, you go to the hypertension. Okay? There's a huge, because it has a huge and complex structure. So coming back to this one. So the artificial neural networks create a network, which is the multi-layer perceptron. So the input is given in terms of the vectors. Vector is nothing, it is your the one-dimensional arrays. Arrays could be multi-dimensional, vector is always one-dimensional. And then the weight is assigned, then the bias is assigned, the 2 categories of the feed forward and the back propagation. And if we put this layer of this NLP into the hierarchical order, that becomes of the deep learning. So try to understand the machine learning is suitable for the time series data and the textual data. Deep learning is most suitable for the image data and the audio video data. And we will discuss one. So until unless you raise some question, I won't be able to explain myself. So this one. Now coming, so this would be a focus of this today. Now continue. But it has some ethical issues now. Data bias, security, reliability, and the last one is the energy consumption. For any machine learning model, for any ChatGPT, as I said, when we compare 2 and 2 equal to 4. So we should have the 2 sets of data separately. One is the standard set of inputs and another is the standard set of the output. So we can compare. If I give this input, my output should come like this. But in case of these LLMs, we don't have such huge and bulky data set available which can be compared like. You all have studied at least one subject, software engineering, right? So have you heard that exhaustive testing is not possible? Have you heard anyone of? Why not? Okay. Because when you write a line of code, let's say 100,000 lines, so how many combination and permutation you can create? How many combination and permutation you can create for the inputs? So that's not possible. And if we keep on doing this one, mathematically we can say that we can reduce the error to the level of 0, but it never happens. If it happens, then the flight never and ever would fail. These, these missiles would never ever fail. That's only the reason the software fails wherein it has not been tested. Please try to understand. It would fail in that situation where it has not been earlier tested, and I'm just going to talk about it. And the 2 reasons are for that. One is the budget, and another is the time constraint. Varsha ma'am, Shali ma'am, kuch bhi kaam nahi, I want it by the day or by the evening on my table, or maximum by tomorrow, or day after tomorrow. So the time is given. So that's another reason for coming to this. So climate degradation threaten human rights, and no, these are also the ethical issues. I'll just come forward. Two things I wanted to share. One is the India AI Impact 2026, which was conducted last month at the Delhi Mandapa. And the another one is the AI City. I'm sure this college is might be implemented MEP 2020, partially, fully, or up to certain extent. So what is the key principle of this AI City? This is also about governing body of the through Ministry of Education, the UGC and the AI City and that. So what is the backbone, or what is the thrust area of this MEP 2020? Access, equity, and quality education for all at affordable price without any discrepancy, color, caste, creed, community, and gender, and with that accountability. That is the target or the objective of any higher education institutions, HEIs. So coming back to the access, equity, and quality. Access means one and all. Everyone should be able to access. So let's say if some lecture or some resources or some, let's say even we wanted to access some paper ले लीजिएगा, research paper ले लीजिएगा, tools ले लीजिएगा, database, anything. Is it accessible to all? No. How can it be available, made accessible to everyone? Unless it puts up in some public repository that should be at least free of cost. But when we say free of cost, is it truly free of cost? Don't we require the bandwidth? Don't we require the internet connectivity? Don't we require the display, probably smart display, right? So all these matter. So that's why in Indian context, because 70% population reside in the rural area, but at least this form is available with everyone, and probably this is the smartphone because that has been tested during the COVID. So that is possible. So that's why, and now later it would be linked to the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. They are altogether 17 Sustainable Development Goals. We will talk later on. Peace, people on the planet with peace and prosperity through the global collaboration. That is the gist of this Sustainable Development Goal. We will see, we will come understand. So this one. So AICTE has 2025. AICTE has declared as a year of AI, claiming to the Vishwa Group in AI. So that's the another impact in the Indian context. And the last one, AICTE probably announced execution of its action plan Perplexity to provide 40 million students of 14,000 institutions across the country. So that is the another initiative and the impact. Three phases are there. We can continue. Yeah, coming back to this one. This is a very good slide from the academic and from the motivational point of view. AI for sustainable development, 4 P's. People on the planet with peace and prosperity through the collaboration. International collaboration, local, global collaboration. We wanted to achieve, we wanted to reserve the resources for the future generation or the coming generation. And the burning example is the LPG gas and the petroleum. The entire country is, going through that, and it will happen. The day has to come a little bit more tough because situation is not in our hand. And technically talking as it looks good, but practically don't play conditions. Youngest workforce demographic dividend. India is the second largest populous country in the world after China. Almost 1.42 billion people are young. That becomes 1/6 part of the entire global population. This is you can say it is not a good thing, and why you are so crazy and why you are so excited about it. But the best part of this, the demographic dividend. The best part of this population is that 60% population is the young population. And that is the youngest country in the world as India in terms of the demographic dividends. because this young population is counted 15 to 29 or 30. This is the measurement has been taken. So if we are so young, I mean the country is now in the youngest country. So if I say that India is not the largest population, it is the youngest country in the world. And if you are the youngest, there should be no limit of your excitement, your potential, your capability, right? And the best thing, you and me and my other senior colleagues, there is no fear at your age, at your level. It used to happen with us also. When we used to be in our 18 years age or 20 years age, we used to think that our father doesn't know anything better than us. And when our children comes in our age, they also. And don't worry, it will continue with you also. When you become father, your generation also, generation after generation, and then after generation. Because you don't have any fear. Cricket is one example. Go and play your natural game. Fearless cricket. Whatever will come, you just go with the natural flavor and the wonders will come. So that is the reason that say India is going to be a superpower. Right now we are the fourth largest world economy. After US, China, Germany, Japan we have just been rather competing, but this is slightly margin. The 2026 initial report of the government of India, they have declared that we have achieved the fourth. This is marginal. We are 4.186 and Japan is coming around 4.186, very marginal. But then now we are competing with the German. If you want to reach the level by 2030, so we have overcome to the Germany, and then we will be claiming ourselves as the third largest economy in the world. And there is a gap. So what we need to do? We need to think like Germans, and we need to work better than Japans. Because they say very. And how it is going to be possible? There are the two things. This dividend, the youngest generation, and second one is the technology. Technology is available, talent is available, and there's no lack of any potential and capability, stamina, talent, and whatever. Just we need to think like that. So anyway, the most popular that हो गया सही. बस एक स्लाइड आपके लिए ऊपर है ना. People planet progress हो गया. This comes up next because it is a women's college. Yeah, people planet progress already have gone through this one. This is in tune with your sustainable development. Let's start. This also will come. We can say because the AI Impact India 2026 has taken place, these are the 7, inclusive growth, then the ethical fair, transparency, explainability, privacy, data protection, safety, reliability, accountability, and the sustainability. So through these sutras or the activities, we would be able to achieve this, third largest world economy by 2030. Two dominating agency of this, data analytics agency, Bloomberg, everyone might be aware, Company Group has and this, Bloomberg, and then another one, the McKinsey. Both are the US-based firm. They have declared this AI is going to contribute to a largest possible extent. In terms of India is going to be Viksit Bharat by 2047. So that's the reason this comes up. I'll come to my note on it. Yeah, this one. This is a slide for you all guys and the female candidate. Because of how this ethical problem is going to be addressed, UNESCO in almost 2021 November, it has come with the recommendation on the ethics of the artificial intelligence. So, protection of human rights and the dignity, these are the two most significant components of the SIGMA. So, based on the advancement of fundamental principles such as transparency and the fairness. So, it is a group of 17 peoples all over here. So the platform utilizes 7 leading female experts from academia, civil society, and private sector and regular bodies from around the world. That takes care of the gender sensitization, equalization, and giving the ample and proper opportunity or equal opportunity to all the movements on the earth. So that's why, you are not alone. The UNESCO, the largest body of this, education, science, and culture is also backing up, coming up with a lot of guidelines. But the guidelines remains guidelines until unless it comes into the execution. So this was the slide for you. Just come up. This is the slide you can do. Just come up. ये भी हम थोड़ा छोड़ देते हैं because the demographic dividend I already have talked. So this is just last one. Why we are talking about this one? Demographically, India is the youngest country in the world. We have understood what does it mean. Half of the population is under 25 to 35 times. So India's youth will have to deliver for India over the next 2 decades to become a Vishwaguru. That's quite possible. That's only the matter. We need to think like that. We need to work like that. This is the perfect platform. This is the perfect era. This is the perfect age when one should come. And maybe one, as an individual, agree or not, India is better. Because there is a huge population, as I said, this workforce, and if you say 60% of 1.42 billion is almost 0.8 billion. That's a huge number. Even 50%, 20%, 30% of this entire population go in that direction, the days are not far away to achieve all this. Now, we will come to our technical shortly. Next. Yeah. So this is my talk basically, technically. It was all to give the backgrounds and to just boost up your knowledge. So, statistical technique and machine learning are going to be used for the predictive models, right? Can you take any example of predictive modeling based on the discussion we had? I take one example: spam mail filtering. Everyone has the Gmail accounts for many years. So how does certain mails are delivered to the inbox that becomes a legitimate or the valid mail, and some are goes to the filtered out to the spam or unwanted, right? How does whenever a new mail arrives to you, on what basis there are so many techniques, filtering techniques are applied to this one. So how this becomes a, if it has not been earlier delivered to you and not responded, probably it goes. But on the mail I missed because it went to my spam. That is the excuse also. Even if it has been a legitimate mail delivered to you timely, but you don't really need to. You can actually know my आपने भेजा version में I miss it because it went to spam. It went to yes. So this is one of predictive modeling. So based on the how did it work? Based on the incoming mails over the past years, months, days, or decades, as long as the huge number of data set that would define your accuracy and robustness and the power of this algorithm or the models. So coming to this, so create a model based on the past one and identify the future, right? So two things we are going to talk in this case. One is a known data and one is a unknown data, right? You can write down 2-3 things interchangeably or during this conversation. We are going to use samples, observations, tupples, instances, examples. These all are same. It is a part of your data set, right? There's a simple, there's a single sample, there's a single observation, there's a single. It is a tabular form. There's a data set, the one rows and the number of columns. The single one report becomes I'm referring as samples, right? So if I say what is the sample size of your data set, it's 1,000. So there are the 1,000 observations of the 1,000 samples. Okay. Now, so what are the key components of this predictive modeling? We start from the problem definition, and now I expect the queries from the audience or the student. And if you are not going to ask, please allow me. Because I am your senior and we have agreed to this nomenclature in the beginning of this session, right? So you are my junior and we are alumni of this good university. Okay. Problem definition. How will you define a problem? From the research point of view, my context is here from the research. Our problem we have given that we want to generate an element in Marathi. That's one example you can go. So how do you identify any problem you want to solve? Or you want to give to your student as a teacher in the class? So at least what do you do? ChatGPT. Okay. You ask your ChatGPT what questions, what queries, what numerical, what exercise, what project, what case study should I give to my student, and this is my syllabus. आप अपना syllabus upload कर दीजिएगा. It will frame a good questions for you. If you want in an objective format, it will give you the MCQs. If you want in a format of case study, it will give you. And the best part, ask it, okay, generate a solution also for me in a tabular form. So you get the solution also. But how did you verify? Because these LLMs, generative AI, suffer badly with the bias and the variance. Bias will come a little bit. Bias and the variance. Okay, so this is not a good solution. As a teacher or as a student or as a scholar, you need to get into the literature review. So always study the good books. At least you take some examples or some unsolved problems from the given textbook. So if I ask database management system, I'm sure you all might have studied. किसी एक book का नाम बताइए, किसी एक author का? You have studied honestly. Any programming language, maybe C, C++, Java, any book you have referred apart from ChatGPT? That's the situation because उसकी जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ती आजकल. Coding है, coding कर लेते हैं, assignment है ऐसे. So at least the back end of the every chapter, then the queries, then the questions you can get from this. And when you're coming to the problem definition, then the research is the systematic and the scientific process, right? Under this systematic, we start from the problem definition or the defining a problem through the books, through the standard books, through the journals, right? Or through your personal observation or for any designing a new tools, techniques, technology, algorithm, protocols, going for the optimization or for the improvisation. So these are the opening, right? So I understand we have taken the problem definition from this one. Then why data is required? In predictive modeling, as we said, there is the known data and unknown data. Known which is the previously available with us. Unknown which we are going to apply in the near future. So the previous data is going to be part of our data set, right? So how do we collect this data? There are two categories. There is the primary data collection and the secondary data collection. So primary data collection you need to collect through the sampling, survey, observation, discussion, Google Docs, from any other. This is one going to be of the primary data collection. What are the sources of secondary data collection? All the repositories or the standard repositories available, and the biggest example is the social media. So for Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook is the most dominated area to get the social media data, right? So these are also part of the data. But the problem with the social media is authenticity and integrity. There is a fake news detection, right? There is a deep fake, there is a trending, right? And so many other resources. So we can have the repositories from the given, like GitHub. I'm sure you might be aware. GitHub. Kaggle? No. OpenAI. Okay. Another one. GitHub. कुछ नाम नोट कर लीजिएगा इसको बाद में एक्सप्लोर करते हैं. GitHub हो गया, OpenAI हो गया, then the UCI machine learning repositories or then thousands of repositories from the different areas. UCI ML repository. Kaggle, GitHub, OpenAI, and then the banking data. This gene project what we call sequential data frames we use, social media data, and any other banking, retail, marketing, production. You know, even the university system, student data set itself, banking, customers, voters, all these are part of the data set. So data set we will take from there. Then the data pre-processing. Have you had these steps earlier or not? And these are the mandatory steps to design and develop any machine learning model. And one should ask why. Either during the discussion or after the discussion. Have you made your own observation? Why we want to have this data pre-processing? Because this data is in an unstructured format. It could be redundant, right? It could be scattered. It could be noisy. Noisy word is to be undertaken. Noisy word, right? So this data is usually noisy data or the missing data. Can you tell me, anyone of you, how does this noise gets introduced or injected into a data? I take one example. I want to give a pic of this entire audience, right? So how does noise gas introduced into this during the capturing process. But if I ask this way, the quality of the pic I'm going to capture through my camera will depend on how many parameters. Quickly, if you understand, do you understand my question? Yes or no? I want to capture a pic, a static pic of this one using one camera. एक लेनी लीजिए आपके काम कर लेंगे right? So quality of this picture किस पे depend करेगी? Distance. Okay. So you want to say it is the resolution? Okay. So the first one is the resolution. What is the resolution of my display of the phone? Display resolution is nothing the number of pixels per second, number of pixels per pixel. Say 40 by 480, 1024 by 840, whatever it comes. So if the resolution is higher, the quality of picture would be better. Right? This is my point. What else? Lights. That's very good. Because in the more in this there is a light. So light has the property of reflection, refraction, and diffraction. So while I'm capturing this one, so background, foreground, all these comes into the picture, and that way the noise will come into this. So later on, I want to remove this noise. You set the distance, so that is the focal length of the camera. I'm capturing this way. And the last one, not the least, what else? If the instrument or the component is the defaulty or faulty, sorry. मैंने बटन प्रेस किया, बटन काम ही नहीं कर रहा है, या वो प्रेस होके रह गया, या फिर रिलीज नहीं हो रहा है. And through this way, this noise gets introduced in the data. It was the example of image. If I take the example of textual data, a student have the first name, last name, middle name, and the surname. Let's say I have the student, first and the middle, or first of the last, doesn't have the middle. So when I capture this data, so what I will do, how I will be dealing with these missing values. So either you will put null, or you will put blank, or you just put the hyphen. So how does it represent it, or the significance of these null values or missing values? This is going to be part of your noisy part of the missing values. Okay. So that's why we need to address this. So we need to, before we apply any machine learning technique or we are going to design any machine learning model, we need to pre-process, right? So what we do under pre-processing, we will see. Now the model selection. It is absolutely in terms of the machine learning language. Please note down. So machine learning, there are three broad categories of the machine learning. One is the supervised learning. One is the unsupervised learning, and third one is the reinforcement learning. These are the three broad categories of the machine learning. So under these categories, we have the different algorithms. Based on this nomenclature, we gave the name that either it is going to be supervised learning, or it is going to be unsupervised learning, or it is going to be reinforcement learning, right? Okay. Now, the example I quote that these are the set of input and this is the corresponding set of output. It is known as, or it is called as a supervised learning. This is for every single input, there is an associated outcome, which we call as a labeled data. So the training to this model is nothing, this is going to be a machine learning algorithm I'm going to talk about, right? So when we develop this model using that particular algorithms, right? So the learning will be provided in the presence of a teacher. That is called the supervisor. But as there is no teacher in technical terminology. Teacher in the sense, there is an input also and the outcome also. So you can associate, you can map, and there is some sort of self-learning. Right? How do you improve yourself by writing your theory exams in the end semester or in the mid-semester examination? If a teacher is showing you the answer sheet of the examination being conducted, so what is the purpose apart from all this? Can't you identify your mistake when you see your answer sheet after evaluation? So you understand, oh, this was the mistake I did. I note down, I understood, and next time I'm not going to. So that is also the self-supervised learning. This is the supervised. When there is no associated data, we call it as a unsupervised. I'll take one example of this. and the validation. How do we validate these models? Like I talked about the ChatGPT and then. So how can we validate? You design the model, develop the model, even before it know data, not this which is available with you at a point in time. With the old, maybe all features, except one or two. So I want to apply a classification problem using machine learning, right? And I start a person or a student come and we measure the given data is like that. Name is that's it, Shabina, and she is a female, right? And then I apply to the entire class. There's a gentleman, your name is that's it, Rahul. What's your name? Rahul? Sahib, okay. Sahib, he is a female, right? Now, let's say that another new member or new person. And let's say her name or his name Rosemary Martin. Martin Luther. Right. So what would be her or his gender? Or let's say I take the fruit. Fruit classification आपके लिए जाती है इसी वजह there is a apple, so the outcome is apple. Is a banana, right? I give a new fruit which is pineapple. So what would be its category? It is a new fruit or it is a mix-up of apple and wrap up with a pine. And here this is going to be validation data. So it is not going to be rote-and learning, right? I'm sure you all aware of the parrot. Parrot देखा है आपने? How does it learn? पढ़ने चाहिए आप बेबी पूछे मेरा नाम क्या है, बेटा का क्या है, बिटिया का क्या है, वाइफ का सबका नाम बता देगा। तो गेस्ट आते हैं आपके घर पर और उनसे पूछे मेरा नाम क्या है। तो if he has been trained कि वो सारे गेस्ट के, रिलेटिव के, फ्रेंड सर्कल के सब कुछ उसको हटा के रखती है। And this become an overfitting, and that is the biasness of any machine learning. So यदि हम बहुत excessive training दे रहे हैं तो आपकी overfitting हो जाती है। That's creating a biasness. If we are giving less, that is an under fitting. So we are not able to achieve the accuracy. So these are the two major problems with the biasness and the variance of this AI. Okay, so the validation, there are three categories we are going to discuss in the network through one slide. And last one is the deployment. So as I said, the classification, prediction or anything application I am going to use, that is the ultimate step of predicted on this aspect. So this is a definition I have talked from. The Storm Machine is one of the widely used group of this machine learning. So it is a subset of the specialized branch of the AI which stands for provide systems ability automatically learn and improve from experience without being explicitly programmed. And the neural network, which is nothing, it is this another inheritance of the multiple architectures of the artificial neural networks that becomes the deep learning. And the one big difference here to be noted down, deep learning is suitable for the image, audio, video. Machine learning algorithms are suited for the text. Right? We can discuss each one as well. So shall we move further? Okay. So now please take a look. I'm going to ask one question to students हैं इसमें? Do we have any students? I think this is the category of second, third, fourth, fifth. Okay. Just make a keen observation. Do you find any observation or difference between the traditional programming and the machine learning programming? And what's that? The student only. Because as I said, being alumni, your teachers are like my teachers, so I treat them my teachers as well. I'm not going to ask any questions. So students only well and correct. Did you find any difference? And if yes, what's that, please? ये है आपका ये ट्रेडिशनल प्रोग्रामिंग है और ये मशीन लर्निंग प्रोग्राम बस तो लिखा हुआ है यहाँ पर Can you tell please? Guys.
In traditional programming, there is first data machine learning and data.
So in in machine learning, we don't have any output.
Yeah, it's first data output, then computer, then program. But in traditional programming, there is data program first, then computer, then output.
So there is an input, then the processing, then the
Yeah.
output. And whereas in case of machine learning, input will be and output will be
Yeah.
so then the processing is going to be done.
Yeah.
So it is simply mapping, matching, pattern matching, recognition, and all getting through the insights from this input and output. So one problem common becomes here as an association. If there is a X, there is an associated one. So can I write this mathematics wale log hain yahan pe? Can I write this function like if Y is the output, correctly sare karo. Y is the output, X is the input. So can I write this outcome as a Y equal to F of X? Mathematically can we write? Yes. So F is a function. I don't know what kind of associativity, what kind of mapping, what kind of establishment, what kind of relationship for that I need to understand and diagnose and analyze. But this could be written as simply output is a function of input. So simply I can write Y equal to F of X. Right? For every given X1, Xi, there is a Y. And these sort of problems become our supervised problem. Supervised learning. Is that clear? Okay, clear to the part. So this is the so how it is done? The rules, patterns, models, all machine learning techniques, supervised, unsupervised, reinforced, deep learning, whatever you want to apply. IoT you want to apply, blockchain you want to apply, data science you want to apply, whatever you have to apply that has to be put up into this one because we don't have this outcome actually. So outcome will be validating for the unknown data and that we will match. So the training part is done here, testing or validation would be done. So the training is there for the given and it is for the unknown data, which has not been used for the training or testing. And this is for the validation. Next one please. इसको एक बार डिस्प्ले कर दो. This machine learning entire concept I would like to explore through a single slide. Slide are just not to teach you, just the idea to share with you. So try to participate and get involved. Then only you would be able to carry something, or else it would be a complementary session. Nothing problem. Can we define that what machine learning algorithm or technique going to be applied for a given data set? It is basically EDA. EDA is nothing. It is the exploratory data analysis, right? What we do exploratory data analysis? कैसे करते हैं? We apply the statistical technique, statistical analysis. So if I ask the student, tell me some methods of statistics. I would like mean, mode, average, standard deviation, correlation coefficient, chi-square, right? And more like this. Okay. What is the difference between mean and average? And the student. The teacher to exam it. The students बताएंगे and ask the ChatGPT. It will do a quick job for you. Are you really not so confident in mean or average will make a difference? और यदि ये काम तो ChatGPT को करना पड़े तो now you see your model has to be tested rigorously, exhaustively for all ifs and buts, and that's not limited. कौन बताएगा? साहिल साहब बताएंगे. साहिल, you are a student of BCom or BSc? MSc. तो आप एक्सपेक्टेशन से भी ज्यादा BG में पहुंचेंगे. ये तो 5th क्लास में भी नहीं, क्लास 1 और 2 का स्टूडेंट होता है. That's why I said you also try to accept this fact that coming generation or the younger generation they are the more intelligent. पर वो इतनी इंटेलिजेंसी लगाए कि ये थोड़ा डाउटफुल हो जाता है. And that's a problem with your क्या डिफरेंस है मीन एंड एवरेज में? आज की क्लास मीन और एवरेज को लेकर नहीं है. It is just I'm trying to explore कि you really understand the statistical technique and their importance and their significance and how does it is going to benefit. Mean और एवरेज में कोई डिफरेंस नहीं, right? It is same. Now, I take one example. How does this machine learning model so it is get exploited? Classroom का example लेते हैं. A teacher like me or any other one miss the marks of one student while preparing the final outcomes of the final sheet. Somehow, either you were absent or you were found absent or by mistake you missed. So what approach should teacher take? You should be awarded minimum marks, maximum, or the average. Teacher would go probably with the average. But if you are a bright student, you will come higher. In all other exams, in all other theory papers, I'm the highest scorer. I'm the topper. How could you give me average marks? That is one scenario. A candidate who has been failed in all other theory and practical exams, and if you say that you will be awarded the average mark, so he will go with the party. You understand? Because so this average is going to be dependent on two values, which is your the maximum and minimum. And this average value is badly impacted with your outliers. Maximum and minimum are the outliers. So if you include this maximum value in your analysis, then the average will go up or will come down. You are not able to follow me. The average for one एवरेज में मैक्सिमम वैल्यू को इन्वॉल्व करेंगे कंप्यूटेशन में तो एवरेज आपका ज्यादा होगा या कम होगा ज्यादा होगा ओके एंड इफ आई एक्सक्लूड हाईएस्ट मार्क्स एंड इंक्लूड ओनली द मिनिमम मार्क्स तो फिर आपका एवरेज कम होगा या ज्यादा होगा कम होगा सो कंक्लूजन इज दैट इन दिस स्टैटिस्टिकल एनालिसिस व्हेन यू आर डूइंग एनी सॉर्ट ऑफ एनालिसिस for any research paper or any report you are writing that this average value or mean value is badly affected by the outliers which are in the maximum and minimum in this case, right? So that is what is statistics. So ये तो काम नहीं करने वाले. So now we are applying the machine learning. So that was the okay. So now based on this data, can we categorize what technique we are going to apply? And the answer is yes. You can have a peek of this one for your just reference. So data is divided into the different parts. It is text, audio, video, image, and whatever, right? And then there is a associated label. Label is what, for example, this is a category of gender, right? तो gender के क्या-क्या label हो सकते हैं? Male, female, and let's say third category, right? Fourth category? No, right? So there are the three categories. So these are the labeled outcome, right? So if for any objective there is an associated label, right? So which technique has to be applied? Supervisor. Because there is a mapping, na? ये input ये outcome. So that's the case here. So data labels present है, तो it would be a supervisor. And if the data are absent, it is the unsupervised. For example, the image processing. So image है आपका. How do you define an image? किसी ने पढ़ा है क्या कंप्यूटर ग्राफिक्स या इमेज प्रोसेसिंग या डिजिटल इमेज प्रोसेसिंग? ओके कोई बात. पिक्सेल्स. पिक्सेल की टर्मिनोलॉजी में यूज करते हैं ना अभी इमेज वी कैप्चर थ्रू दिस इमेज एंड ऑल दिस, राइट? सो कैसे करेंगे? Either it is a black and white image, monochrome, we call it black and white, or it is a gray level, or it is a RGB. Gray level is a 2-bit code for this. So 2 raised to the power 8 becomes 256 combination. So the value from 0 to 255. So total 256 colors combination would be there in the gray level. In the monochrome, there would be just 2 combinations, by default black and white or red, green, and 2 color combination. And then the most beautiful color combination of the color coding is the RGB, red, green, blue. So total combination becomes 2 raised to the power 8 plus 8 plus 8. That is 2 raised to the power 24. So mathematics will tell you right कि कितने color combinations are. So that's why when you have the millions of colors, and if you ignore the near past near and take any this one, so that becomes your the reduction of the image reduction, right? So this is your the unsupervised. Another level is the discrete and continuous. So, are you aware how do we define a variable? Can I say time? Time is a variable. It is a discrete or continuous? Yes, it is a continuous variable because it is varying according to the time. So, can I say time is a time dependent variable? क्यों? Vary करना है तो continuous बोलेंगे हम. So it is a time dependent variable. It is a continuous variable. It is a time series data. ये सब एक के लिए word use होता है. Right? Can we say it is an analog signal? Electronics में जाएंगे? Answer is yes. Analog भी है. So when it is a continuous data, then we apply the regression analysis. When it is a discrete, it is non-continuous, it is not time dependent, it is discrete, okay? It is not time series. So then we apply the classification. In machine learning, you can note down here for the rest of the discussion of this presentation. Machine learning deals with the two kinds of problem solving. One is a classification, and another one is the prediction. Okay? Now, would you write one example for classification and one example for the prediction? And both are written on the board. Should I repeat? Machine learning deals with the broadly two kinds of problems, right? One is the classification, another one is the prediction. Prediction का example of the house price prediction here. You are into this Valley Road location, so the flat prices would be per square feet for the single bedroom, double bedroom, or the penthouse, or double whatever bedroom. So today this is the price. 10 years back was this one. What would be the next year? Can we do? Can we do an analysis? Simple analysis. So what kind of data we are dealing with? Time series, time dependent, numeric, or discrete?
Time dependent.
Time dependent, numeric, time series. So it all becomes your regression analysis. That's all becomes your prediction is achieved through regression. That's why it is a nomenclature like this. So what we do in the regression? So regression, we try to establish the relationship between the two variables. Two variables means two categories of variables. One is a dependent variable and another one is the independent. So is that okay? So if someone asks today what do you learn in machine learning? So can you quote, we understand there is a regression analysis, we can apply? Yes or no? Okay, at least you understand. From where you will take the data set? Kaggle, GitHub, OpenAI, social media, or any research paper that you can take from the library. Is that okay? So that's your house price prediction. This is a regression of the prediction also. Come to the other side, digit classification. How many digits are there in English? 10 or 20? What digits? 0 to 9. 10 और मराठी उर्दू में भी 10 ही होती है, right? 10 is 10. So can we, let's say this coming, I'm writing in Hindi, another one is writing in English, and you are writing in Marathi. So the script would be different, image would be different. So if I want to classify whether it is one in Hindi, whether one in English, or one is in Marathi. So can we say it is a classification problem? Answer is yes. Okay. Just I was quoting. Can we classify the genders into male, female, or that? It is a classification problem. Yes. Can we classify like that the disease prediction? Right? COVID patient है, या sugar patient है, या thyroid patient है, या cancer है, या can we do this one? So this is the classification problem. So what do you understand now? Concluding these two components, classification and prediction. Classification is applied to the discrete data. Prediction is applied to the numeric. Right? What we achieve in regression analysis, it is simply establish or holding a relationship between the two variables, and the simple one is the correlation coefficient. Right? So if I say the value of correlation coefficient equal to 1, what kind of relationship we have? I take one example. Y equal to mx plus c. This is the equation of the straight line. Is that clear? Y equal to mx plus c. This is the straight line in the two-dimensional plane x and y. Which one is the dependent variable and which one is the independent? Y equal to mx plus c. So x is the dependent or independent? Independent. Y is the dependent. And is the slope dy by dx y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Right? And c is the constant. So can we say y is directly proportional to x? Can we say this becomes your linear regression? Is that clear? So if the value of correlation coefficient equal to 1, there is a perfectly correlated these two variables. Right? If it is inversely proportional, then do we have any relation? Still we have the relation, but it is inversely proportional. Is that clear? So this linear regression are divided into three categories. One is the linear, non-linear, and the logistic regression. Okay, next one. ये भी हम चलो छोड़ो. Data exponent. Now, from where do you get this data? These are the already you have your Google process 24 petabytes per day, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, astronomy, genome, biosequences, and the UCI machine learning, Kaggle, GitHub, OpenML, and these are some of the these standard repositories from where you can take the data sets. Right? So take the data set, apply pre-processing, select a model from the earlier slide, train, test, and run. Okay, evaluate and run. So can we move the next slide, please? Okay. For me, this is the one slide. I will talk for 5 minutes or I will talk for 5 hours. Right? So जितना भी आपका focus है इस पर करेंगे. इसके बाद ऐसी स्लाइड दूसरी होगी रिलेशन इसी से होगा, राइट? सो आप चाहे तो पिक भी ले लीजिएगा अपने रेफरेंस के लिए कि based on my limited understanding and knowledge, I try to conclude this machine learning in a single sentence. Okay? So बहुत सारी चीजें हमने पहले भी शुरू कर ली and this one. So the diagram goes from top to bottom, left to right. Is that okay? So कहाँ से शुरू करेंगे इसको? You have seen the earlier steps. कहाँ से शुरू करेंगे? डेटा पर, राइट? डेटा सेट लेंगे हम लोग, कहाँ से लेंगे? From where we will take data set? At least from the repository. You should be able should be that much confident कि सर इतनी सारी repository तो बताई है आपने, और नहीं तो we will collect our own data. So data collection is data collection, data organization, data visualization, data analytics, उसके लिए फिर वो सारा big data analytics हम सारा प्रिपेयर करके आते हैं, या exploratory data analysis में वही करते हैं. तो two things, data collect हो गया, right? And then organize, tabular form में करते हैं, visualization हम कैसे करते हैं? Graphs, charts, right? Or any other visuals जो भी formats, pie charts है, graphs है, stamps है, right? Okay, so data repository हमने लिया from any other resources, primary or the secondary. Now, what to do? If you recall the some basic step of predictive modeling, फिर क्या करेंगे?
Pre-processing.
Pre-processing, right? क्यों करेंगे? Why do we need a pre-processing? Because this data is dirty, it is not correct, it is not updated, it is not consistent, it is noisy. So at least one word you can maintain noisy here. We have seen the noise कहाँ से आ रहा है. So if we apply the analysis of any noisy data, so the information or the outcome also would be noisy or inaccurate. So for a better, efficient, accurate and robust outcome, we need to have a purified data. Right? पानी को भी वो purify करते हैं ना. Now, so what are the steps of this pre-processing? Cleaning, transformation, normalization, and discretization. These are the 3-4 categories of the data cleaning is one of them. Under this cleaning, we apply treatment of null values, missing values, if in the class every student doesn't have a surname, for example, I'm sure might be there. So how do you deal with the surname? I'm sure everyone has a phone number also. But let's say somehow if a person doesn't have a phone number, or let's say I'm making the entry for the phone number, mobile phone, and the landline number. And now you understand the days has gone, nobody uses a landline number, but this is very database में entry है landline. So many students or the people doesn't have that, not applicable. So how do you deal with this value landline number? What will you put? Can we leave it blank dash? Okay. So what is the significance of this dash during the analysis?
It has no value.
No value. Yes. Okay. To the end of their day, if I have recorded 1,000 samples or 1,000 observations, unluckily 200 rows are missing value or dash value. Should I delete it all of them? Or how? Because analysis I'm going to put either statistics or the machine learning. So how this dash would be treated? Should we ignore it completely?
Zero.
Should we treat it as a zero? Should we treat it as a blank? Or null, nil,
Blank.
blank? Blank तो है वो. So इसको discard कर दें. एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल ले लो क्लास में. Varsha ma'am is taking class. She is a stalwart, very active and master of her subject, right? If the student does not respond, she asks, just cut off, leave the call. And after half an hour, if no one is able to respond, what will happen? क्या रहेगा क्लास में? कोई क्यों नहीं रहेगा? After the same thing with the ignorance. You need to give the treatment because these might be of the significant objects, significant features. Your observation or analysis is going to be more dependent on this. So there is a treatment of missing values, null values. We use that term. The first one is like ignorance or remove the tuple or remove. That is the easiest but not a good solution. Okay. What else? Replacement with some constant value. You put a constant x, y, z, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then don't meaning that encode it and then decode it. First encode, apply the analysis, and during the final result, then decode whatever its significance. Okay, that's one thing. Another one, apply some algorithm. So there is a binning algorithm, sir, like I was quoting. Can we take a minimum average value? Or the minimum value? Or the maximum value? So these are the binning algorithm. We put the different values into a bucket, then the take, mean, mode, median, standard deviation, whatever you like, you put into this one and replace that. That is applicable with the time series data. If it is a textual data, we are developing a model in the Marathi. तो वहाँ तो 1 2 3 नहीं है ना? वहाँ तो text है, वहाँ तो mic नहीं. So how will you take the mean value? So the natural language processing will come into the picture. So how do you reprocess? Now reprocessing would be entirely different for the text, for the audio, for the video, for the images, right? And the numbers. Mean, mode, median, it's good okay with the numbers. If it is a text, then the tokenization, vectorization, lemmatization, systemization, right? Chunking, all these machine learning, the natural language processing come into the picture. So that will be most frequently items, most relevant, most irrelevant, all these one. DF, document frequency, inverse document frequency, all these things of the natural language processing pipeline will be done. If it is an image, what would be the pre-processing? No idea. But you are sitting here to write, You see, what is the size of this thumb? 1 by 1 centimeter is square centimeter maximum, or 1.5, 2 by 2 तो शायद नहीं होगा, 2 by 2 ले लीजिएगा. Still when you go for a registration of your flat, or any land, any farmhouse, the Aadhaar card is special, the fingerprints are taken, no? Yes or no?
Yes.
इसके लिए भी सोचना पड़ रहा है. So what is there in this 2 by 2 centimeter square area? That still it gives the unique impression. is the image? No? So this is the most dominant feature of a human body. Thumb impression, eyes, nose, lips, and something like that. Can we say age is the significant feature of the human body? Object? No, age is not significant. Age, BP, mass, index, current size, dimension, doesn't matter. But these are the dominant feature. So others are irrelevant. This is the most relevant. So that's why we go. So what will come into the image? There's a S detection, coordinate detection, brightness, foreground, background. So this has to be the display. So the segmentation, augmentation, normalization, and the reduction of the color combination. Because processing an image requires a lot of mathematics. That's why you need a GPU for this image processing, right? So if I want to reduce the dimension of RGB into the gray level, so the 16-bit coding has to be reduced. So let's say there's some principal component analysis algorithm or so these are the kind of your pre-processing. How it comes to the audio and video? Let's say there is a song sung by Lataji, Maharkatha Rameshwar. This is not, but we wanted to create a new Lataji with AI. So audio कैसे करेंगे? Pre-process. So we are not from this musical background and the classical concept. There's a note, there's a pitch, there's a sound, there's a different So that way, this every kind of data has to be pre-processed. So that is one. Okay. Now data reduction. So clearly we have the reduction. Why you want to reduce? As I said, they are the table. They are the number of features that say human body. यदि किसी को टेम्परेचर मेजर करना है कि आपको टेम्परेचर है या नहीं किसी भी ह्यूमन बीइंग को सो व्हाट वी विल मेजर thermometer से टेम्परेचर लेंगे ना based on that we can decide so the all other features are irrelevant for this temperature so temperature लीजिएगा thermometer से about 100 above plus minus and based on that we can decide but it has to be COVID or it has to be cancerous it has to be thyroid. It has to be heart, lungs, cardiologist. Can we take the sample and TB and the weight and measure and that's it, go away? Nothing is wrong and everything is wrong? No? So these are your significant features. The feature selection, feature identification, selection and feature optimization. This is another research area under machine learning. The scope of the research is called as scope. Is that clear? Identification, selection, optimization, reduction, all this. Okay? So, normalization. Artificial neural network, ANN architecture we were talking. It takes the value between 0 and 1 because we assign the weights and the biases we will be discussing later. And there is a value between 1 to 100. Right? I want to normalize, I want to transform it between 0 to 1. How do we do that? सबके मार्क्स हैं स्टूडेंट के 2 डिजिट में है मुझे सिंगल में करना है the range of marks between 1 to 100 and I want to transform or translate or convert into 0 to 1 how do we do that this is normalization so can we divide every value by the maximum minus minimum so 1 to 100 या 0 to 100 is the difference so any value you divide by the 100 तो वो किस में आ जाएगी 0 1 की रेंज में आ जाएगी 55 divided by 100, it becomes 0.5. So that would be transformed or normalized or converted into the 0 and 1. This is another kind of the process. Okay? This discretization. Already we have this. Transforming a data from continuous to discrete or vice versa. That is the discretization. Right? So this is all your data process. Coming to the splitting criteria. What is this criteria? I'm going to apply. We said this machine learning model has to be trained. Trained कैसे करेंगे? The given input output. Given input क्या है? Data set. Right? So how do we decide कि training के लिए have anyone of you studied any machine learning research paper? Or any? So there are the 3 criteria. One is the splitting criteria, one is the leave one out, and third one is the k-fold cross validation. Right? Splitting criteria is that let's say we have the 100 samples, right? So what I want to keep 2/3 for the training and 1/3 for the testing. Well, let's say 60% and the 40%, 70% and the 30%, 70% for training, 30% for the testing. Where we want to focus? We want to give for maximum portion to training or testing. Keep your model you are developing ना this मराठी में होने वाला है आपका आउटकम किसको देंगे आप ज्यादा वेटेज ट्रेनिंग को या टेस्टिंग को ट्रेनिंग क्यों see I have been given you a lot of questions and lot of things then I am putting some couple of queries that makes gentleman exercise if I keep on just asking and not telling anything so you feel bored also that would be bias unfair so बताते बस पूछने तो very good So if you have been trained up to the largest possible extent, so your training, you would be testing, your testing would be done in a laboratory. For example, and semester के example there are. So you do lot of exercise, lot of assignments, midterms, and so teacher gives a lot of worksheet, and then you probably do better in your mental because your training has been done into a grade. Exhaustive. And now you are open for any sort of testing, either by third agency, third party, or whoever comes. So that's why the major portion goes to your training. This is the one approach. Second one में क्या है? Lead one, we are sampling with the replacement. First, splitting criteria apply to when we have the maximum data size. I mean, it's a huge number of samples are there. So large data set में मतलब क्या? If your data set is very simple, very small, for example, hundreds or whatever. So then what we do? Sampling with replacement. We replace that sample which has been used for the training. That will not be used for the further training part. So that we want to maximization of the training data. And the third category, which is the most efficient, is the k-fold cross validation. What we do in that category? Let's say there is a 100 data sets, we put into a 10 folders, right? K की value 10. So 10 folders में रखने तो how many folders we got? 10 folders. So what we do? One folder kept reserved for testing, remaining 9 folders are applied for the training, and then we go with the replacement. This is the another third criteria, and this is the most widely used and the better one. But then practice we apply both. Okay. So this was the splitting data here, training and testing. Okay, now moving forward, upside, what is this data categorization? Already we have done, it is in the text, the audio, video, image or whatever, and then based on the label and unlabeled. If it is a discrete, it is a classification problem, it is continuous, then it is a regression. If it is the associated labels are there, then it is a supervised learning. If the labels are not present, then it is a unsupervised. Right? That is the top part. Now coming to the machine learning models. So what models we are going to use in our this training and testing? Only machine learning algorithms. We will have a slide. That's the 3 categories of algorithms are there. Supervised learning model, unsupervised, and the reinforced. For example, let's say if I say supervised learning model में कोई algorithm का नाम बताइए, decision tree induction is there, naive Bayes is there, support vector machine is there, artificial neural network is there, KDNS framework, naive Bayes. It's a huge category. Under this unsupervised learning, we have all these clustering algorithms. K-means clustering, fuzzy clustering, density-based clustering, and all these ones. Under this reinforcement, there is a penalty and reward like we are trying the automated driving object. There is drones are out, there is a pilotless, autopilot. So how they are being trained? This all have been witness to what happened to the Iraq. The maximum leadership was just destroyed in a single moment. So do you think it was done in just by hook or by random way? No. The movements were captured. Roadmap was recognized, patterns, detected, training, testing. Every movement was captured over a time period. and all the maximum possible combinations were tested and tried. And once it was decided, this is the proximity, this is the area, this is the time, and the object has to be here, right? And then you have a range. So set them up, target them up, look at target, right? And then attack or target from a nearby position and you will visit multiple bombers. So koi bhi near hoga, and that's the history that has been done. So there was no manual interaction. So drones only did it. So that's the you can say beauty also, but the disaster also. That's why these techniques are called as the disruptive technology. Right? Okay, so model selection would be based on your expertise, your inputs, your experiment, or on the exploratory data analysis. So that would be the now. What is the feature selection? Can anyone please? Feature selection. Feature is the attributes of your database. जो feature जो column names है वही आपके feature. जैसे मैंने बताया ना objects है. Body is an object, right? तो क्या क्या feature होंगे? Height, width, age, name, color, dimension, right? Nose, eyes, all these are the features. So feature selection करेंगे. Feature selection, identification, optimization. Feature technique, feature selection के लिए two broad techniques are used. These are also the statistical technique, filter and the Ramer method. So filter, you might have studied mathematics, recursive filter elimination one methods and the other things. And then the model learner, and this is a recursive approach. Recursive in the sense, unless you get the expected outcome, this process keeps on. So, and then finally come to the model testing. Testing will go with the remaining 30% or the 40% data we have already used for the testing. And now it comes to the evaluation. What are the evaluation technique? How we will evaluate a model, models for focus? So कैसे assess करेंगे? So first one comes to the mind, accuracy. How accurately, right? As I said, 2 plus 2 after 4 आ रहा है, तो that is a 100% accuracy. If it is coming down or going above, it will be an error. So the two broad category of the matrix is error, right? If it is a continuous data, then the statistical matrix like mean, mode, median, error, standard error, mean average error, root mean square error, normalized root mean square error, sum of square error, absolute error. All these are the variations of error. And if you can recall in the beginning I took example that I took just 3 samples and the error was shown as an average error was shown 0. In case one sample it was positive 0.01 and another one was the minus 0.01. So if I take the average value, what would be the result then? 0. So that case, in that case, this matrix is not good one. I need to go for the another one. That's the mean square error. You पहले सबका square करो, फिर sum up करो, फिर उनका mean लो, so we get this time of positive. And if it is a categorical variable, then we will go with the confusion matrix. I'm sure you might have learned few names like false positive, false negative. Are you aware? What is false positive? If I say the Shivani is, let's say, I don't know what is Shivani, Rupani or Shivani, was not present in the class. Wherein, sir, I was sitting, I was the first one who gave your maximum response to your queries. Then that would be the false positive. So this. And finally, if the target is achieved, we validate the model and be happy. So this is the whole scenario of a machine learning model. I tried to discuss in a single slide. Now यहाँ से आपका थोड़ा इंटरेस्ट यदि है तो एक एल्गोरिथम और मशीन लर्निंग का टिपिकल एग्जांपल ले सकते हैं। आपको लग रहा है कि सर पहले ही ओवरहेड जा रहा है तो we take few queries और as you said स्लाइड तो बहुत है उसमें नेक्स्ट करो कुछ क्या है वो तो हो गया डेटा क्लीनिंग डेटा ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन डेटा रिडक्शन डिजाइन ये सारी टेक्निक्स हैं यहाँ पे सुपरवाइज अनसुपरवाइज सेमी सुपरवाइज इज नथिंग न्यू इट इज अ हाइब्रिड अप्रोच ऑफ द सुपरवाइज एंड अनसुपरवाइज रिइंफोर्समेंट टारगेट वेरिएबल ये सब मैंने बता दिया नेक्स्ट आओ ये भी इंपोर्ट करेंगे एक्सप्लोर करेंगे प्रीपेयर डेटा सिलेक्ट मॉडल नोन अननोन बेस्ड प्रेडिक्शन दिस वन आल्सो ये स्लाइड को मैंने बहुत पहले यहाँ पे now from this one what kind of machine learning is applied here and why लिखा है वैसे तो यहाँ पे this technique is given here why supervised
Linear.
नहीं ये लीनियर नहीं है यहाँ पे ये आपका इनपुट है ये आपका आउटपुट है so for every given x इस वैसे लिख सकते हैं f is a function x mapped to y x की कोई वैल्यू होगी तो y को भी मिलेगा राइट so we can write as this and this is a function we need to identify and optimize वो कोई एक algorithm होगा कोई भी function analyze करें and this is the error epsilon and it is not just merely an assumption बोले सर ऐसे क्यों लिखे फिर आपका फंक्शन तो ही मेजर हो गया how does it comes it is a noise due to noise due to biasness due to data characteristics of the pre-processing or this is not a merely a function so error किस पे डिपेंड कर रही है noise bias and the value and these are not avoidable so this is the supervised हाँ ये machine learning के algorithms हैं supervised में classification, regression, support vector machine, discriminant analysis, database, nearest neighbor, linear Gaussian linear models, support vector regression, Gaussian process regression, and sample model is nothing. It is a combination and permutation of the different Bayes models. Decision tree is one of the classical algorithms. Neural network की यहाँ पे भी है यहाँ पे भी. So that's the beauty of the neural network. We apply to the supervised learning also and the unsupervised. And what is stoppable here? When we deal with the image, audio, video, we come to the deep learning, and then it is going to be the hierarchical layered architecture of your artificial neural network. For example, convolutional neural network, right? Radial Bayesian neural network, CCN and RNN. All these deep learning algorithms are applied. The basis is the artificial neural network. Clustering means k-linear and hierarchical. These are your clustering algorithm. ये छोड़ो हो गया ये एग्जांपल मैंने ले लिया था वहां पे दिस इज द सुपरवाइज्ड लर्निंग के लिए लाइक ये y equal to mx plus c वाला जो मैंने एग्जांपल लिया था उसमें एरर क्या होगा what is the objective function mean square error and how do we define an error error का फॉर्मूला क्या होगा anyone बहुत सिंपल सा है deviation from standard outcome deviation from अपने you want to say something else how do you define the error actual minus predicted बोल लीजिएगा actual ये तो predicted है observed minus estimated different nomenclature and simplest way deviation from the standard outcome जो भी deviate कर रही positive कर रही है negative कर स्टैंडर्ड ये होना चाहिए था आर ये था या आपका एस्टिमेटेड है या ऑब्जर्व सो मीन स्क्वायर क्या होगा यहाँ पे टेक दिस एरर स्क्वायर सम एंड देन टेक द मीन तो इससे क्या बेनिफिट मिलेगा पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव वाले रिजल्ट सारे पॉजिटिव हो जाएंगे राइट अदरवाइज क्वाइट पॉसिबल कि कुछ वैल्यूज पॉजिटिव है कुछ नेगेटिव है सो क्वाइट पॉसिबल यू लैंड इनटू अ जीरो despite of having different deviations. So that's why we do absolute error पे जा सकते हैं, right? Mean square error पे जा सकते हैं, sum of the square पे जा सकते हैं, root mean square पे जा सकते हैं, normalized root mean square पे ले सकते हैं. These all are the part of your statistical techniques. That's why I started with the statistical and the machine learning. We are going to apply to this predictive model. Okay, next. ये छोड़ दो हो गया ये आपका सुपरवाइजर यहाँ पे आपका कोई टारगेट वेरिएबल्स नहीं है देयर इज नो एसोसिएटेड बस इनपुट है आपका टेक वन एग्जांपल ऑफ दिस क्लस्टरिंग एल्गोरिथम आई डोंट नो हाउ मेनी ऑफ आर पोस्टुलेट एंड हाउ मेनी ऑफ आर डे स्कॉलर राइट सो कैन वी पुट टुगेदर दोस हु आर residing in hostel or those who right? Is that clear? So can we put this one? This would be the example of your clustering algorithm. These are the students, they are residing in the outside, and these are the students, they are coming outside or from the laboratory. Yeah. Okay, so how do we do this clustering? It is decided based on the similarity index. The objects with the similar characteristics are put up together. These are called the clusters. Is that clear? So two categories of cluster, one is the hierarchical, one is the density based for the partition. So I think we are approaching the time already a little bit late. Just move next and I'm finished. Right. Yeah, after feature selection and we just try this also. The dimensional reduction छोड़ दो इसको. नेक्स्ट कर दो. हाँ, ये ऊपर वाला ये डिस्टेंस रिडक्शन एल्गोरिथम था, इसको हम छोड़ रहे हैं. Just coming to some application. quickly go please. बीच वाला छोड़ दीजिएगा. Actually मैटर तो क्लास टाइम टेबल का था. So these are okay, just one. These are some machine learning tools. Python is one of them. TensorFlow, OpenCV, PyTorch, Open Neural Network, Apache, Amazon, IBM, AI1, Proteus. All these are some. Next one. Yeah, this is one potential application of the traffic algorithm. Google Map, we do every time. So this does a dynamic routing. A traffic per first it will give you the alternate. Right? So the route is rerouted. Next one. Social media, Facebook, automated tagging. The features of the images having the similar characteristics put together, put into a tag. That is the friends, family, and all. Transport, all and over. These are this one. We are happy you have missed 10 minutes earlier. Expected time of arrivals. Next one. Product recommendation. Amazon, right? Sentiment analysis. Emotion or data mining, sentiment mining, emotion detection, all this one. Next, virtual personal assistant. Alexa and Siri and Google, you are still alone in your room, your mom is crying, and you are just busy and playing with the Alexa. Very simple actually, parents find who is Alexa and where is Alexa. And so this, it is a virtual personal assistant, take your phone and the SMS and do the job for you. Next one. Self-driving Tesla is for the radio one, going for a huge $750 billion market in India. Next, dynamic pricing. Vaishali ma'am will tell you better. The moment you start booking a flight and meanwhile you reach to the final booking, it shows the 2000 has been. Because the dynamic, the passengers are in queue, it takes very long. Next one, Google Translate. NLP is the answer. And last, yeah. Online streaming, Netflix, OTT, and these are some of the machine learning applications on the fraud detection. Okay, so fraud detection, banking card, transaction card, and all these clients. Last. Thank you so very much for your passion, for your time, for your attention, and for providing me this opportunity. It is an absolute pleasant moment for me. Thank you so much. Any question we can do during the break also.
Does anyone have any questions? Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for such an insightful and thought-provoking interactive session, I'll say. Your views on predictive modeling, generative AI, automation systems have really inspired us, and I think that the thought that you said that Indian youth needs to work hard for next 2 decades to reach the Viksit Bharat 2047 goal. Here I would like to bring to everyone's attention that before Viksit Bharat 2047, there was another goal which was unfortunately not attained, which was Viksit Bharat 2020. Does anyone have any idea who was the Honorable late Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam in his book India 2020 said that he was looking forward to India as a developed country in 2020, but unfortunately it did not happen. But now we will strive hard to reach this goal by 2047. So you very wisely told us that youth has to work hard which is one of the most important pillar in Viksit Bharat 2047. Thank you, sir, for explaining such complex topics in such simple language. As many of us are not from science background, it was a bit difficult at first, but you really explained it very well. I'm confident that your talk has only enriched our understanding and inspired us to explore further in this field. Thank you, sir. Now, it is time to express our gratitude to all those who have contributed to the success of this session. I would like to express our heartfelt thanks to our chairperson, Dr. Varsha Babar, for presiding over this session and giving a guidance to us. My sincere gratitude goes to our esteemed speaker, Dr. Pradeep Kumar, for delivering such an informative and inspiring talk and sharing his really vast expertise with all of us. I would also like to thank our respected principal, head of the department, and organizing committee, faculty members, and all the participants for their active involvement and support in making this session meaningful and successful. With this, we conclude this session, session number 3. Thank you, everyone. But before we disperse, I would like to inform you all that we will now have a break for lunch. Please proceed to open auditorium near Suswat Canteen for the same. I kindly request all the participants to reassemble in the seminar hall by sharp 1 p.m. for session 4, which promises to be equally engaging and insightful. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your lunch.